October 1st, 331 BCE, a day that nearly changed the course of history forever. Alexander the Great, the young Macedonian king who had conquered half the known world, stood on the edge of total defeat. Known for his brilliance, bravery, and unbroken string of victories, Alexander faced a moment when even his unmatched confidence was shaken. This was the day when the fate of his empire and his life hung by a single thread. In this video, we'll step back in time to explore how Alexander came perilously close to losing everything. We'll uncover the build-up to the crisis, the desperate moments on the battlefield, and how quick thinking and sheer will turned near disaster into immortal triumph. By 331 BCE, Alexander's empire stretched from the mountains of Macedonia to the sands of Egypt and deep into Persia. His campaigns had been nothing short of legendary, swift, decisive, and brutally effective. Yet beneath the surface of glory, cracks were beginning to show. His troops were exhausted, supplies were strained, and the long distance from home was taking its toll. Each step forward stretched his resources thinner. His enemies, too, were learning. King Darius III of Persia, once humiliated by defeat, had regrouped, gathered an enormous army, and chosen the ground carefully for a decisive confrontation. The stage was set for a showdown that would determine not just the fate of Persia, but the survival of Alexander's dream. The chosen field of battle was near Gaugamela, a wide plain in what is now northern Iraq. Darius had prepared it meticulously, clearing the ground for his scythed chariots and deploying an army that dwarfed Alexander's in number. Some ancient sources claim the Persians fielded hundreds of thousands, though modern estimates are smaller. Still, Alexander's 40,000 infantry and 7,000 cavalry faced overwhelming odds. Yet numbers had never intimidated him. He arranged his forces with precision, his phalanx in the center, light troops to the flanks, and his elite companion cavalry, his personal strike force, on the right. The goal was clear. Hold the line, find the weak point, and drive straight for Darius himself. But Darius had plans of his own, and soon the air would erupt with the clash of steel and the roar of battle. The Persians attacked first, unleashing their scythed chariots across the open plain. Horses screamed and blades whirled as the chariots thundered toward the Macedonian lines. Alexander's light troops skillfully parted ranks, showering the drivers with javelins before the chariots could make impact. Then came the cavalry, thousands of Persian horsemen colliding with the Macedonian right wing in a storm of dust and blood. In the chaos, Alexander saw it, a gap forming in the Persian center near Darius's position. Without hesitation, he led his companions straight into the breach. It was a daring gamble, and nearly his undoing. For a moment the tide turned against him. His men were isolated, surrounded by enemy forces pressing from all sides. Swords clashed, horses fell, and Alexander himself was struck, nearly captured or killed in the melee. The empire teetered on the edge of ruin. But Alexander's courage and leadership saved him. His bodyguards, the famed hetairoi, threw themselves between him and the Persians, shielding their king at the cost of their own lives. Even wounded and exhausted, Alexander refused to retreat. Instead, he rallied his men, calling out commands, urging them to tighten ranks and push forward. His presence was magnetic. Seeing their leader still fighting, the Macedonian soldiers redoubled their efforts. Slowly, the tide turned. The Persian assault began to falter as confusion spread through their ranks. Darius, watching from his chariot, sensed the shift and panicked. His fear rippled through the army. In moments, what could have been Alexander's destruction became his resurgence. The Persians began to break. Alexander's narrow escape turned into a dramatic reversal. When the dust settled, the Persian army was in full retreat. Darius fled the field, abandoning his camp and royal treasure. Alexander stood victorious once again, but only barely. His empire, his legend, and his life had been saved by a combination of audacity and luck. Across the ancient world, word spread that the young Macedonian king had done the impossible yet again. Cities surrendered, satraps pledged allegiance, and Alexander's reputation as invincible grew even stronger. Yet those who were there, the generals and soldiers who had seen their leader nearly fall, never forgot how close they had come to total annihilation. The empire's greatest victory was also its closest brush with death. But what if things had gone differently? Imagine for a moment that Alexander had fallen that day at Gaugamela. His death would have thrown his army into chaos. The Macedonians, leaderless in enemy territory, might have scattered or been destroyed. Darius could have reclaimed Persia, restoring his empire's pride and power. Greece, freed from Macedonian dominance, might have descended once again into city-state rivalries. Without Alexander's survival, there would be no Hellenistic age, no fusion of Greek and Eastern cultures, no Alexandria in Egypt, no spread of Greek thought into Asia. The world as we know it, from philosophy to architecture to political thought, might have taken an entirely different course. Alexander's near disaster reminds us that even the greatest heroes walk the knife's edge between victory and ruin. His triumph was not just a matter of skill, but of composure under impossible pressure. Leadership, he proved, is not only about commanding armies, but about inspiring them when hope is fading. The story of Gaugamela shows that courage, timing, and presence can outweigh even vast disadvantages. It also reminds us that history's turning points are often decided in moments, sometimes in a single heartbeat. Alexander's empire would go on to shape centuries of culture, science, and art, but its survival that day was anything but guaranteed. And that was the day Alexander the Great nearly lost his empire. A moment of chaos, courage, and destiny intertwined. What do you think would have happened if Alexander had fallen at Gaugamela? How different would our world look today? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this journey through ancient history, give this video a like, share it with your friends, and subscribe for more deep dives into the pivotal moments that shaped our civilization. Next time we'll explore Alexander in India, the limits of conquest. Until then, remember, even legends have their moments of peril.